Hello, my name is Ash, a counselor in training. This is my Relatable study podcast for individuals who need help studying for their NCE, CPCE, and other related counseling exams. I'm going to go through many questions from multiple resources and make the answers relatable to both you and me. So get your listening ears on and let's get studying. In cross-cultural counseling, structure is very important. This concept asserts that counseling is most effective A. when structured exercises are utilized, B. when a counselor takes an active directive stance, C. when non-directive procedures are emphasized, D. when the nature and structure of the counseling situation is described during the initial session. The answer is D. In a cross-cultural counseling, structure is very important. This concept asserts that counseling is most effective when the nature and structure of the counseling situation is described during the initial session. When the counselor is able to lay out the groundwork and provide information about what is going to happen within the counseling space during that initial session, the client knows what is going to happen and is able to gain some sort of structure into how they are able to proceed in therapy and focus in on what they are wanting to focus on in regards to their problems and issues, and are able to help structure the sessions. A client who recently learned that he had kidney cancer has been researching everything he can about the disease, treatment, and outlook. Which defense mechanism is the client utilizing? A. Rationalization, B. Repression, C. Intellectualism, D. Compensation. The answer is C, intellectualism, because the client is doing research about kidney cancer, what the disease is, what kind of treatments there are, and the outlook of the research that he is finding. This defense mechanism focuses on what the client can learn and build up their knowledge because of a very big change in their life, such as having kidney cancer. And they're doing all they can to inform themselves via intellectualism to help build up their defense mechanism. A client from another culture will A. talk to the counselor the same way they would to a peer. B. speak to the counselor differently from the way they would when speaking to someone of their own. C. generally use slang on purpose to confuse the counselor. D. generally play dumb to receive the counselor's sympathy. The answer is B. A client from another culture will speak to the counselor differently from the way they would when speaking to someone of their own background. This is because clients from a different background and culture may have a counselor with a different culture or background, and so they would speak differently than how they would if the counselor was of their own culture and background. They may be unsure of how they would speak to someone who is different from themselves or their community. They may be anxious or nervous about how the counselor will view them, and they may not be ready to speak comfortably. One family structure that is on the rise in the United States is the A. blended family, B. multi-generational family, C. single-parent family, D. homosexual family. The answer is B. One family structure that is on the rise in the United States is the multi-generational family, because parents of children may need to work overtime with their jobs, and the grandparents also live in the home so they can also take care of their grandchildren or even great-grandchildren, and living together makes sense for many families to ensure that the parents of any children know that they are being watched by grandparents or even great-grandparents, aunts and uncles as well. And having a multi-generational family benefits the whole family instead of just one unit. An African-American client tells a Caucasian counselor that things are bad, though she literally means something is good. The counselor's misunderstanding could best be described as A. Client of color error, B. Cognitive dissonance error, C. Connotative error, D. Confounding variable. The answer is C. The counselor's misunderstanding could best be described as connotative error. This usually means there is a miscommunication between client and counselor. Usually the context is in how words are being said through tone of voice, such as when an African American client tells the Caucasian counselors that things are bad, literally means something good because of how it is said, whereas if they said things are bad, really bad, then something is bad. It is in that tone of voice to where the counselor could misunderstand through the connotative error. It would be best for us counselors to double check with the client. Are things really bad, or is this something that is good? To make sure that we are able to understand how the wording could be good or bad so that there's no misunderstanding between the counselor and client. That is all 5 questions for this episode. Thank you for listening. Keep calm and study on.